Let's start with the rapid fire round just to break the ice. In case you don't want to answer a question, you can just say pass. But try to keep your answers to one word or one sentence only, okay? All right, so the first one is, at what age do you want to retire?
Around 70.
How long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
Half an hour.
Most embarrassing moment of your life?
Oh, God. That's a good one. I dog walk with somebody who is quite famous, and I didn't recognize him for 8 months.
Okay. Favorite color?
Yellow.
What time of day are you most inspired?
Mornings.
How many hours of sleep can you survive on?
8. I need 8.
The city in which the best kiss of your life happened?
Paris.
Pick one, Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk.
God, there's no contest, Mark.
How do you relax?
I walk a lot.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
I'm a matcha person.
A habit of yours that you hate?
I talk too much.
The most valuable skill you've learned in life?
Listen.
Your favorite Netflix show?
Good Place.
Morning routine, are you an early riser or a night owl?
Very early riser.
One word description of your leadership style?
I'd like to think empathic, but it's a learning game.
Okay. Top priority in your daily schedule?
Make sure I hug my son in the morning.
Ideal vacation spot for relaxation?
Mountains to walk in.
Key factor for maintaining a work-life balance?
Don't take yourself too seriously.
Okay, well, that was the end of the rapid fire round. The only question I have remaining is, where do you get your son in the UK?
Where do I get my son in the
Yes.
UK? Oh no, sorry, I meant like hug in the morning.
Yes, yeah.
My 8-year-old son. So
Oh, okay, you didn't mean like real son. Okay.
my real son.
All right, okay. Let's go on to the long form questions, which you can answer with as much time and ease as you like. The first one is, how do you leverage business intelligence to guide decision making in digital and on-demand operations?
So business intelligence is really important to us. We make many data-driven decisions across all levels of operations. It definitely wasn't like this historically. Historically, like just to give an example of fast, historically, we would just hand the content over to fast platforms, hope for the best, pick up the check every couple of months. Now the things are definitely changing. BBC has invested in our own data platform where we aggregate data from various sources and turn it into dashboard. And it's helping us to sort of to form to make informed decisions across markets, products, and all that. So why do we do it? What are the key reason behind it? Definitely, it helps us to develop localized strategies. Helps us to understand regional audience behaviors. So to give you a few examples, in Italy and France, for example, we introduced a drama channels because we were able to sort of identify that were the preferences of the local audiences. And in Germany, we went with a history channel because, again, it helped us to understand that those were the preferences of the local audiences. In Nordics, we introduced EastEnders on the player, even though the show has never been on any linear television. And because of that, actually, the show is performing really well because we were able to identify the audiences. So localized strategies, UI promotions, very useful when managing content discovery across UI. We're getting better at understanding UI features on different partners, and usage of data is definitely helping us with this. And also we use BI not only for retrospective, but also kind of we leverage it for predictive analytic, forecast audiences, trends, etc. It's helping us to unlock more valuable IPs as we are able to predict return on investments.
And so, what are the unique challenges and opportunities of overseeing this kind of product development and content strategy for fast channels?
I would say it is a mix of agility and creativity when you look at this. So balancing your audience engagement with commercial growth, making sure you use data for those kind of a quick decisions, but at the same time, you continue updating your legacy systems and workflows. So the three key opportunities I see here is the niche channel development, increasing of the IP life cycle, and creating new advertising revenue opportunities. So for niche channels development, FAST is an ideal playground for niche channels. You know, you've got your single IP channels, like in our case, Top Gear and Doctor Who. You've got your genre-specific channels like BBC Earth, food, history, travel. This creates opportunities for kind of a highly targeted audience and highly targeted monetization. When it comes to increasing IP lifecycle, we can maximize the life cycle of our deep libraries. We introduce them to the new audiences, and we do it at comparatively lower costs to other distribution methods. You know, as the content sales value decreases in all the windows, FAST gives us this opportunity to kind of shift it and introduce it to those new audiences. And then when it comes to ad revenues, there is a growing shift of advertisers sort of shifting towards streaming, and our digital products like Fast and Player represent a growth of those kind of revenue on streaming. So great opportunity for smaller advertisers who up till now were not able to afford TV advertising. Fast does not require fixed budget commitments, and the pricing is relatively low in comparison with big TV sort of advertising budgets. And also you've got lots of innovative formats like dynamic advertising, contextual advertising, shoppable ads, all of this is coming. And then when it comes to challenges, again, I would say three: lack of industry standards, localization, and technology. Lack of industry standards, it's a relatively young industry with the standards are just being created as we speak. So there is a limited visibility of commercial data, there is no single currency, there isn't a kind of visibility of end-to-end value chain when it comes to kind of stakeholders in this programmatic process. A lot of advertisers is still mistrustful, but as the industry kind of matures, this will continue shifting. Localization is extremely important, but also quite expensive, as you can imagine. So you need your local language versions, you need to understand your local environment, sort of regulatory environment, and obviously you need to invest also in local content. And then, like in all cases of technology media, it takes a while to have scalable tech solutions. So we are working very closely with our technology teams to introduce right tools like digital repositories, metadata solution, AI-driven scheduling tools, etc.
And so besides these, what else do you think will define the future of fast channels?
What else would define the future of fast channels? I would say definitely markets on its own. It will basically decide where the importance of fast in the kind of the bigger picture. The forecasts are that by 2028, EMEA region would be delivering about $1 billion of revenue for fast, but it's not particularly clear where this revenue will be coming from. So EMEA obviously is very different than the US landscape. So I think it will be very much a decision of the key players, how fast we fit into this bigger picture. So in EMEA, we have a much stronger broadcasting base than in US. And therefore, I think the broadcaster in many ways will decide what's going to happen with fast. They have a very strong BVOD platforms where they monetize their own content through SVOD, sometimes even EST. So I have a strong suspicion that the model will develop very much similar to what Netflix or Disney Plus is doing at the moment, where fast will become just one of the revenue models on this platform, probably a sort of a lower, less paid tier, or like a sort of a bit of a, package in front of the wall. But I genuinely think that it will be kind of absorbed in these bigger broadcast pivot strategies.
So in general, then, what are the key factors to consider when developing strategies to grow and engage audiences?
Definitely understanding audience, good sort of hang of who your audiences are, so you can develop personalized strategies. Fast data is still quite patchy, so it's difficult to get a full socioeconomic profile of our viewers, but we are lucky that we also have other products in our routes to markets, like linear channels, players. And so we gather this first-party data from different markets, different platforms, and we cross-reference it and are slowly forming a picture who our audiences are. So, for example, Nordic probably is one of the best markets because we have multiple different products there with different routes to markets, like linear channels, players, and apps. And one of the things, for example, we understand is that the prime time for each of those products, so we can our scheduling strategy can be developed to support each other's. The other important element, I would say, is quality content. So it's compelling, relevant, diverse content. BBC Studio is one of the largest distributors of UK content. We have almost 54,000 hours of content in our catalog. It's a huge base for building our digital products. And we're very dedicated on creating, on having a very strategic content curation and delivering bespoke strategies across different products. And just to again give example from Fast Channel, we have our single IP channels like Top Gear, basically factual entertainment, more men's skewing, but we also have Doctor Who is very dedicated to super fans of the genre, and BBC Earth, which was developed on the back of the recent environmental trends. Another factor is leveraging multiple routes to market. Every platform, every model is different. And again, we have to make sure we have those different platforms, be it SVOD, be it AVOD, and we basically try and test and see what works well. And the partnership, the promotional opportunity with different partners, it's been a steep learning curve. With linear channel, we rely heavily on paid media campaigns and B2B promotion. With Fast and Players, it's very much focused on UI promotion and content merchandising. So we found ourselves heavily reliant suddenly on thumbnails and metadata optimization, something the business hasn't been originally set up for. So we really had to quickly address this.
And so in all this, how do you balance shaping a strategic vision while remaining hands-on during execution?
Well, I think it very much is a learning process. It is a lifetime process. So I would say I'm trying to balance a combination of a clear focus, flexibility, delegation, but at the same time, ongoing engagements. So at BBC, we build our strategies bottom up. We clearly understand market needs, and we work towards those kind of a 3 to 5 years plan, which helps us to balance short-term goals with the long-term ones. I strongly believe in so-called blue line management when you look towards your kind of the longer-term horizons. And I can highly recommend a book by Kaiser and Young. It's called Blue Line Imperative. And also the other thing which is extremely important is the mastery of the basics. So there's another really good book by Brent Brown. It's called Dare to Lead. And it advises leaders to practice and master your fundamentals. So it's a bit like playing football. You spend hours training how to kind of manage your foot movements and kick the ball. So once you are on the field, you don't have to worry about it because you can look up and kind of strategize how to score. So the combination of those two, master your basics, but also know your kind of a long-term goals. And for that, you definitely need to focus on your priorities. We do know where we want to be 3 to 5 years from now, and we have to make sure everybody knows why. We stay hands-on when it comes to the, when it comes to the critical milestones like content strategies, monetization framework, regular targets reviews, but stay hands-off when it comes to team management. You need to put obviously a clear framework around people responsibilities, and then you kind of let them go, make them autonomous. I feel like sometimes I'm a bit like a waiter. I hover around to provide the support when needed, but at the same time leave them to get on with this. And that kind of helps, not only empowers them and helps them develop their skills, but gives me the bandwidth so I can focus on a bigger picture.
And so how would you summarize your approach to driving also business transformation and managing change itself effectively?
So again, I think it's a combination of things, a combination of vision and strategy and combination of outcomes and people first approach. Big focus on communication, collaboration, flexibility, but also you need a yardstick for your outcomes, and you need to be able to celebrate progress. And someone once said that one thing we forget about in transformation is that people spend lifetime learning how to work on specific technologies, and it's really difficult to retrain them. So whilst technology, the progress is exponential, no matter how fast the technology changes, it's this change in people to move them from one piece of kit to another that is being extremely difficult. But you definitely need to define your why. My boss is very clear. We always have to start with why. Why are we investing in those new way of monetizing content? Why do we think people will agree to spend time prepping and delivering assets using unknown systems and processes? I always have to make sure I make people excited about our vision and why we're kind of growing this digital business. Make sure you engage your key stakeholders. And by key stakeholders, I mean both the leadership team, but also your colleagues. I have to be very clear about my blue line and spend my time lobbying for it. We know that 3 to 5 years from now, 20% of our revenues should come from those kind of new digital models. And we have to achieve early visible wins to build the momentum. So in the first year, when we kind of first launched, we had 10 fast channel feeds in the markets. 2 years later, we now have 7 fast brands across 23 channel feeds, and we are in 42 countries. So that kind of speaks for itself. Also really important is this culture of flexibility. And, as I said, resilience is natural. People spend years mastering certain skills, and now you tell them those skills are not important anymore. You have to learn something new. So this kind of an active, empathic listening is tough. It's really tough, but it's very important. And it took me a while to arrive there, but luckily I had good mentors. So as soon as I switched from telling people what to do to kind of listening to their suggestions, things definitely became easier.
And so, how do you yourself stay ahead of shifting market trends in the on-demand and digital landscape?
Uh, Definitely constant monitoring. I regularly track industry reports, competitive analysis to basically understand what those trends are, what's happening in the markets. A few of my favorites, I would say, include the great British think tank, DPP, amazing reports, amazing events. Three Vision, one of my favorite industry sort of influencer is Marion Ranchetz and her Streaming Made Easy, and also Kauser Kanji's OTT Question Time. I attend multiple industry forums, conferences, panels, MIPCOM, obviously, IBC, also Connected TV Summit, DigiDay Summit. It's really kind of helps me to exchange ideas and kind of stay informed.
And how do you navigate risk when trying to adopt any of these new trends?
Mm. Again, it's about, I would say, testing, test and learn. The risk is always there. And as I said, you have your kind of a blue line, you have your horizon, you know where you want to arrive. We're very clear also about our strategy. We put certain formats in place, and we kind of know where we want, what are the immediate steps, what are the long-term steps. But then once we kind of have the framework, people understand what everybody is supposed to do, it's a test and learn. And sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. But we know the environment is very much controlled for us to be able to do it. Also, just basically trust between the team members, knowing that somebody has your back. If somebody goes wrong, there's not going to be a blame culture, but this is basically this kind of an ongoing learning process. There is a feedback loop where we know every time something happens, projects, we have post-mortems where we understand what went wrong, what didn't go wrong, so what went well, and then the ongoing feedback. So I would say this is extremely important, just to make sure you kind of control your risks, but at the same time, it's such a new field, such a new fast developing area. You have to be able to take those calculated risks.
So, speaking of operations, then, what processes do you use to achieve operational excellence in end-to-end commercial operations?
I would say it definitely is about combining structured processes, investing in technology, cross-functional collaboration. But again, another thing I'm quite sort of keen on is this kind of continuous improvement, the Kaizen, the Japanese Kaizen style. So every phase of the commercial operations, from content delivery to monetization, needs to be optimized for kind of efficiency and commercial impact. So first of all, we're making sure that everything is integrated. We are trying to deliver a seamless integration of tools across value chain. So content management, analytics, monetization platform. The aim is to kind of improve information visibility, to make it easy and smooth for everybody to deliver. Cloud-based solutions and automation, shifting asset storage and processes to cloud, again, to ensure consistent and easy access to our content. Updated supply chain. We work very closely with the technology team to make sure that the new supply chain includes solution for our digital deliveries, like metadata management tool or the cloud-based asset storage depository. And then cross-functional collaboration. Again, it kind of goes down to people. Ops is at the heart of commercial delivery. Whilst the linear content delivery is disconnected from commercial side of things, in case of digital revenues, it has a direct impact on monetization. So, as I mentioned before, ongoing feedback loops, continuous feedback to stakeholders to identify bottlenecks. We track workload of individual team members, and we know how long each stage takes to be able to plan ahead. Postmortems. Every major kind of project, campaigns, we conduct retrospective help and that it helps us to capture what needs to get improved.
And how does your empathetic leadership style, help all this, help foster connections, and also help drive business outcomes?
Well, as I was saying, I like to think that I am empathetic leader. It is a journey. It's not a destination, that's for sure. And you constantly need to catch yourself. It's not only about building relationships, but it is a kind of strategic approach to kind of driving engagement, collaboration, and then kind of managing business outcomes. And maybe empathetic leadership and performance management seems like a two very kind of odd couple, but if you combine it effectively, it delivers a very strong, very powerful framework for delivering growth, accountability, and high performance. So make sure you show empathy in goal setting. So take your time to understand team members' strengths, challenges, and their career inspirations. Make sure you provide constructive feedback. So it's a two-way dialogue. If there are some areas for improvement, make sure you balance it with a kind of acknowledging strength and make sure you understand how your team members feel. Balance accountability with understanding. So yes, you need to hold your team accountable. Empathy doesn't mean you have to lower your standards, but you have to balance the high expectation with fairness and recognize valid reason if something sort of went wrong. And if there is this underperformance, view it as an opportunity to coach. And also continue encouraging ownership and autonomy, making sure you get enough responsibility for the right stage of everybody's career. Some people, when I just chuck stuff at them and they go, brilliant, give me more. But there are some people who look at this and basically start panicking. So I just have to give them things in smaller chunks. And then recognize and celebrate contributions, no matter how big or small they are.
So, considering everything we've discussed today, where do you think the future of content production is headed, in your perspective?
Oh, that is an interesting one. I think it is creator economy. I strongly believe it's a real thing. It's going to get bigger and bigger as, YouTube is already one of the biggest sort of OTT platform. I think the production on its own is, because of technology, because of digitalization, is going to get cheaper. So I think there will be lots of kind of a cross opportunities between the kind of the old Hollywood, old kind of style of production and the creators economy, cross-pollinate and come up with much more kind of new, better ideas. So I think it's just a combination of those two, technology and basically more kind of people delivered ideas. Blockchains, I would say that also something I'm quite interested in, and how blockchain technology is going to help finance production. I strongly believe that this is coming, where producers will be able to just throw ideas out there and then self-produce, gather money through crowdfunding, thanks to the kind of the blockchain technology, so everybody can participate and take their share of the proceeds.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating. So the last question for you is of a personal kind. What would you be doing in your life if not this?
A really interesting question. I think if it wasn't for this, I probably would have ended up at university teaching languages.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so one day I shall interview you for Linguist of the Month. But
You never know.